Hey, Determined Destiny family, this is Coach Kevin coming back at you with another exciting video about being in control of your destiny and ensuring that we're on the right path to accomplishing what it is we set out to accomplish. We're teaching our young men what it takes to be destiny driven. And that's what it's all about. Determined Destiny is an organization that's created to pour into the lives of young men and help them make better decisions so that they are in control of their destiny. You can check us out on the website, determineddestiny.org. You can check us out on YouTube. Definitely subscribe to this channel so that you can get fresh new content all the time, because we're constantly putting new things up here talking about what our young men need in order to be successful. So I want to encourage you, subscribe to the channel, check out the website, and then follow us on Facebook, Determined Destiny. So let's jump into this. Today's conversation is going to be about responding versus reacting. Responding versus reacting. You might think those two are synonyms, but they're really not. And we're going to dig into why they're not synonyms, okay? So reacting leaves the outcome to chance, positive or negative. When you react to a situation, you don't know what's going to happen. I mean, think about this. You get into a situation and you just react to the situation without putting much thought to that. You leave the outcome to chance versus responding. I want to encourage you, do some research on responding and how to respond versus reacting, and what reaction looks like versus what response looks like. So response, when we respond, we're intentional. Having a response to something is intentional, and it's intentional to produce a positive or negative outcome. It could be that you are intentional about producing a negative outcome so that you can get a positive outcome later. But the key here is that you're in control of that response and you're intentional about that response, okay? And it's a choice. You choose when you respond. You choose versus reacting is something that you don't really think about. When you respond, you have more control of the outcome, okay? So stick with me here. We're going to get into this. So think about this. There's situations in your life where you have reacted a certain way and you've gotten an outcome that might not have been favorable for you. But if you think about times where you have responded in a thoughtful way and the outcome that you got might have looked or should look a whole lot different. Really, in the end, it's about effective communication. It's about effective communication. And if we're going to be successful, we have to manage our communications in every situation. You got to manage the communication that's going back and forth, the transmission of words and body language that's going back and forth. You got to be able to manage that. Regardless of what the situation is that we're in, we have to know what our desired outcomes are. And we have to go into that situation or that conversation or that interaction knowing that what I have in my mind, I'm going to control this situation to get that outcome, okay? And if you don't set that in your mind in the beginning, then you're more likely to react versus responding, okay? You got to know your desired outcomes. We have to be determined about our destiny enough to know in every situation, it will take us closer to our destiny or it'll take us further away from our destiny, okay? So you get to choose. You get to choose your response or your reactions. The reactions come from your subconscious. Okay? Response comes from your conscious mind. Let me say that again. Response comes from the conscious mind. Reaction comes from the subconscious mind. So let's get into that. So our subconscious mind is behaviors that are programmed into us. And they're influenced by our past. And sometimes we don't know why we did this thing or why we reacted this way, because it's programmed in our mind to react that way. Whereas when we respond to something, we're choosing a behavior or a word choice. It's conscious. We know what we're doing and what we're saying. And so what I want to encourage you to do is be sure that you live in the conscious mind state and that you're responding and not reacting. Okay? Reactions they're not thoughtful. It just happens. Boom. Reactions tend to be emotional. In order to be successful, you got to maintain your emotions. You got to remain calm and respond, because that's the person that wins. Now, it's October 2020, and the Lakers just won the championship. And if you think about the facial expressions of the players during the game, the players that maintain themselves emotionally are the ones that can stay focused and respond to the game that's happening before them, and they generally win. I mean, think about LeBron. Think about his facial expressions during the game and how he keeps control of his emotions so that he can respond to a situation the right way versus reacting on emotions that will not produce the outcome that you want. So maintain composure, maintain self-awareness, maintain your emotions, and respond to situations, and you are more likely be successful. You'll more likely reach your destiny. If we are more aware of our emotions and maintaining those emotions, then we're more likely to respond. And what that says to others is we know how to handle situations. We're self-aware enough to know how to handle situations, and they trust us. They give us more responsibility. They allow us to lead in situations when others may not want to lead. It is taking us closer to our destiny. See, self-awareness is knowing how you'll respond and how you'll handle situations before they occur. It's really about preparation. So if you think about, the big shot, who wants the big shot at the end of the game? It's the one that has prepared for that. And so they're ready to respond when that moment comes. It's about preparation. Whether you're preparing and you're going into a job interview, or you're going into a practice field and trying to get better, or into a game situation and you want to win, or into the classroom to perform. Whatever the situation, you have to have prepared for that in order to respond. It's about the preparation. And see, when we respond versus reacting, then we're managing that situation. We're maintaining control of the outcome. And like I said earlier, it's about communication and effective communication and being able to say, hey, I'm prepared for this. I can handle this. I'll respond in the way that we need to respond in order for me to be successful or the team to be successful. So we got to go into it with our conscious mind state versus an unconscious mind state. Respond versus reacting. Respond versus reacting. Let me give you another example of this. So let's say I'm going to class and I'm late for class. Whether you're a college student, high school student, middle school student, and you're rotating classes at different times, and you're late for class, and you have to be thinking about preparing your response, because you know that teacher is going to say something to you. And it may be positive, it may be negative, you don't know. But what you have to be able to do is to prepare your mind to respond to that negative stimulus that you know is coming. It's probably going to be negative. Kevin, you late again. Why are you always late for class? Now, at that moment, I've got to decide, am I going to respond or am I going to react? A reaction of my subconscious may be something like, why are you coming at me again? You always got something to say to me. You don't say nothing to nobody else. That's a negative reaction. That's unthoughtful. Whereas if I am going to respond in that situation, I'm thinking about that ahead of time, and I'm thinking and knowing that the teacher's going to say something. Okay, when she says something, I'm going to say this. And you're preparing for that conversation. So then I walk in, teacher says, why are you late? You always late? I can say, I did my best today. I'm sorry for being late, but I promise you, I'm glad I'm here, And you're going to be glad I'm here because I'm going to give you my best effort today. I promise you that. Now I just gave a thoughtful response, and I'm more likely to get a positive reaction back. So responding versus reacting will determine our outcome, will determine our destiny. I want to be in control of my destiny. That's why I have to learn how to respond to situations versus reacting to situations. Okay? Let's go a little bit further with this. So oftentimes in situations, like I said, it's from our subconscious and things that we've seen or heard or learned from other experiences. And if we're not intentional about erasing those negative behaviors or word phrases or actions, if we're not intentional about erasing those negatives from our subconscious, then they stay with us for a long time. And so we've got to be intentional about getting rid of those from our subconscious so that they don't hold us back forever. Okay? So oftentimes situations are not in our control. The situation's not in our control. Something happens. Teacher says this because I'm late to class. And I can't control what the teacher says. All I can control is how I respond to that. The response is completely in my control. So when you react, you generally end up with some regret. Okay? And reactions usually come from fear that's rooted inside of us. The fear of being embarrassed, the fear of failure, the fear of being called out. So then we react a certain way. Whereas a response is more thoughtful, and it keeps me in control of my outcomes. Okay? So let's go over our takeaways real quick. Number one, we must maintain our emotions. Okay? In adverse situations or difficult situations or challenging situations that are going to cause us to either respond or react, you must maintain your emotions and focus on responding. Number two, don't take things personal. Don't be in your feelings all the time. Because when you're in your feelings, you get defensive. And when you get defensive, you tend to react. And that's going to lead to problems. Okay? Next, number three, know your desired outcomes. Know the outcome that you want in every situation, whether it's walking into class late and I really just want to get to my seat and get started with my day in this classroom, or on the court and it's 3 seconds left and I know I want to win, and so I prepared myself to win in this situation. I know my desired outcome, so I'm ready for that thing. Okay? Know your desired outcomes. And then number four, train your mind. Train your mind to respond knowing that you have a choice on how to handle situations. You have a choice on how to handle situations. Let that inner strength come up inside of you that you've developed, and let it come out in that outward expression. Let that inner strength come up and come out in the outward expression. And then you'll know that you're on track to reaching your destiny. Hey, I'm Coach Kevin. This is Determined Destiny. I want you to stay plugged in with us. Like I said, determineddestiny.org is the website. It's kind of under construction right now. We're getting some things fixed and updated for you. So with new content, new material to check out and stay plugged into, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. We'll talk to you soon.